Welcome to New Strength. I'm Christina Cook-Lee. New Strength is a daily devotional offering hope and encouragement to people who are trying to get and stay free from depression and or dependency. If you're viewing directly on YouTube, you can read along with me. By clicking on the description area below the screen, you'll see that all the words are there for you. And if you're on my New Strength blog, of course the words are there for you as well. Thanks for joining me. Our topic is waiting on God. The focus, predicting a positive outcome. The scripture, Psalm chapter 40, verses 1 through 3 from the New International Version of the Bible. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth and a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in Him. In his lifetime, David, the shepherd, psalmist, king, had a lot of highs and lows. There are some key things to be learned from the passages he wrote, especially if you are recovering from depression and dependency. When you read all 17 verses of Psalm 40, by the time you get to the end, it seems like maybe it was written backwards. The psalm starts out sounding like David just had this amazing victory and deliverance. He is writing as though a huge trial is behind him, and now everything is all better. But when you get down to the end, you start thinking, well, maybe not. By the last verse of the chapter, you are aware that the writer is in fact at a point of desperation, and that in verses 1 through 3, he was making a faith statement of how things were going to turn out. David was encouraging himself in the Lord. By looking at his present circumstances through the eyes of faith, he was calling things that were not as though they were. David's life was filled with extreme challenges. A considerable amount of time he was pursued by enemies. Much of his writing indicates that he was sought after, but not in a good way. His words often communicate suffering. Frequently, he states he has nowhere left to turn. All of his options are used up, and his back is against a wall. Over and over, he says everyone is against him, and his life is in danger. Do you think it's strange that someone who God called the apple of his eye would be allowed to live in such conflict? Does his life sound anything like yours? When David was challenged, he wrote. It couldn't have been easy for him, but he did it anyway. By writing down his challenges and victories, he was able to leave a legacy. At this time of challenge in your own life, are you writing? I would like to encourage you to do as David did. I don't know how the description of your life would read at the moment, but in this psalm, David is in a slippery place. He is having trouble standing up. He is surrounded by dirt and muck. He isn't in a puddle of mud. He is in a deep pit, where the walls are slimy and high. There is no human way out. Does that sound like your life? At the end of the chapter, David says he is poor and needy. Maybe you are that too. My question to you is, are you writing any of this down? Are you making notes about your circumstances? We would not have known what David was facing here if he had not made some notes. You are in a period of challenge and in a time of waiting on the Lord to come to your rescue. You could look at this day and think, there is no way out, no hope. No hope for me, no future. Or you could do what David did. What have you got to lose? You could get a piece of paper and pencil and write down a list of what you are facing and write it as though it has all come to pass. You could say through the eyes of faith how it all turned out. How would you like things to turn out? Can you verbalize it? Can you write it down? That's what David did. David wasn't in his present circumstances in his mind. He was looking ahead and predicting a positive outcome for himself. He was predicting an outcome that would be so amazing and victorious, it would become a song people would sing. David was declaring that as people would read his words in the future, that many would put their faith in God and honor Him in their lives. It pretty much turned out the way he said, didn't it? It could work the same way for you. Declaration: I will find new strength by writing a positive ending to my present circumstances. In the future, my story will bring hope and encouragement to others, and God will receive the glory. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I would really appreciate it if you would like this segment, and if you wouldn't mind, please share it with someone else who might also benefit from it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the New Strength Devotional channel on YouTube and on WordPress, and then a link will come to you every day in your email with a segment like this. And if you're already a subscriber, I'll look forward to meeting with you again tomorrow. My prayer is that you will find new strength day by day and endless blessings. I'm Christina Cook-Lee.